All right, guys, we have a great show for you today. Today, I am talking to Dom Brightmon, who is the creator of the podcast, the Going North podcast. And he's going to talk to us today about why he created this podcast and how he's helping others. Welcome to Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness. I am your host, Melissa Oatman from melissaoatman.com. I want to welcome you to today's show. So, thank you for being here, Dom. Welcome.
Thank you, Melissa. Appreciate you. And once again, happy birthday month to you. I'm a fan of the Taurus folks. I got a good few Taurus friends in my circle, so I'm a big fan of you.
I mean, what's not to love about a Taurus, right?
Oh yeah, especially when it's occasionally a Ford Taurus as well.
Yeah.
Oh, stop.
I don't know if I like being compared to a Ford Taurus, but
Don't worry, you're better than that.
better than a Ford Taurus. I like that for a comparison. No offense to anyone who owns Ford Tauruses out there. Actually, so, aside from being an incredibly funny and charismatic person, tell us a little bit about yourself and your podcast and kind of why you started this podcast.
Sure thing. Well, of course, never hesitate to show gratitude. So thanks again, Melissa, for having me on your show, because sometimes it can be hard to get on podcasts these days, even though there's a bunch of them. And with the amount of work that you do putting this show together and pushing yourself is definitely a testament. So thank you for that. And for those who don't know about me yet, name's Dom Brightmon, Dom for short, to make it easier for folks. And I'm a certified self-leadership trainer that likes to coach and empower others to share their stories and create their own piece of immortality. And this all stemmed from really just having the upbringing of being a church boy and being basically that quiet introvert kid who eventually found his confidence after the wonderful year of 2012 where we thought the world was going to end, but really all that was happening is that we lost Twinkies for a month. So after losing those Twinkies for a month, I found personal development and read a bunch of wonderful books by John Maxwell, Brian Tracy, and countless other people, and just became a voracious reader who's all about advancing. And one heck even book recommendation in addition to Melissa's marvelous books is basically The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, because in that wonderful book it talks about the advancing philosophy and how those who want to advance in life and they are in business is to go into places seeking to help others advance in life, coming from a place of service as opposed to a selfish place of, hey, what can I get and how many business cards I can hand out to people and hope to God that they don't end up in the trash can or their graveyard at home with the other 3,000 business cards from the other networking events. And it led to this wonderful life philosophy of advancing others to advancing myself. And that's where the podcast began, because I also am an author too, and I published a book, Going North, back in 2016. And sadly, I lost my father 6 months after the book was published. And after doing a few TV and radio spots, I realized, wait a second, I had some great momentum, but since my dad was a guy who loved to work, he was still volunteering at the church in his late 80s of all years on the earth. And his example of being a hard worker, I wanted to emulate that, and that still carries with me to this day. So I started the podcast called Going North to not only advance other people and to advance myself, but also give authors a platform to get their voices heard and their stories out there. Because when I first published my book, I had no idea what the heck I was doing. And I know a little more of what I'm doing, but being okay with that.
I totally get it. I'm the same way. I had no idea either what I was doing. So that's awesome that you're offering people a platform, new authors, that allows them to share their stories. So, what kinds of people have you had on your podcast so far?
The good news is we hit all the wonderful rays and the colors of the rainbow, metaphorically speaking, because we've had wonderful New York Times best-selling authors, folks who are homeless that basically became multimillionaires, and New York Times best-selling authors, all the way to regular folks just like myself who basically may have a day job and they're doing this as a side hustle and they want to explore their creativity and get their voices out there. So we hit just about everybody, men and women. I think the youngest person I've had on my show was 17, and the oldest so far was 74. So the goal of the show is to interview over 1,000 authors across the globe. So definitely want to hit as many different demographics as possible and help folks realize that success is tangible.
That's awesome. And what a great platform for people who just love reading, too, because it would be an amazing way to find new authors and find books that really speak to you. And I don't know about you, but me personally, when I read a book, I want to know who is this person that wrote this book and what is their story. So I think that's great that you're doing that. And I'm sure that you've had some pretty interesting and amazing stories behind them. I mean, you talk about someone being homeless to then being a millionaire. I mean, that's an incredible journey.
Oh yeah, it is because he was a kid when he was homeless. Like he basically was in a foster home and really became homeless after that and had to eat out of trash cans and he had to memorize textbooks because he couldn't afford them. And little did he know that that would pay off later when he decided to start doing business in Bangladesh and having to memorize those textbooks helped him to realize getting that helps him to really strengthen his mind to be able to pick up the Indian language, the Punjabi language. Like it's just powerful. It's like those moments in your life where you have those setbacks set you up for future success.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people, and I talk about this um, quite often, that people who, you look at that person, you think, oh, they have it all. Look how successful. Most of those people did not start off life in that way. They had to go through a lot of adversity to get them to where they are because I think it teaches you how strong you are. And it's sort of like when you're missing one of your senses, the others have to work in overdrive to make up for that. So it's like they were born without wealth, born without some of them. It sounds like this young boy, born without a stable family environment. And so they in turn use that to fuel them to succeed. So that becomes their drive and their determination. I think that that's just an amazing thing.
Oh yeah, it's super special, amazing. Like that's the wonderful thing about podcasts nowadays. Because heck, we wouldn't be talking with each other if we didn't have these wonderful platforms to connect with each other, and it really just helps us to realize, like, hey, even though people out there may be doing big things, they still had humble beginnings. Some of them are still going through things, even though they may appear on the outside. They see a curated feed on social media and they're like, oh man, they must be doing fabulous, but behind closed doors, they're still going through setbacks and struggles that we all have to face.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's different between somebody who is successful and somebody who maybe feels stuck in their in lack is your mindset, your determination, how you choose to look at your situation because you can either choose to stay a victim and feel like, oh, all of this stuff happens to me and I have no control over it, or you can choose to say, oh, this happened to me, but it's not going to stop me.
Oh, yes, indeed. You could definitely say that again because it's so freaking true. Like, it's especially with the wonderful year that shouldn't be named last year,
Yeah.
where where a lot of folks could have let things stop them, but hey, a lot of people were able to use that time to be able to get more into the creative flow and really unleash their inner awesomeness. Heck, like yourself, like you're doing all these wonderful things. You got your own membership program that you do monthly. You got this wonderful book that you published, if I'm not mistaken, last January, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and another ebook published like a few months after that. So, really just taking advantage of those down times where you could like, hey, I'm just be like, woe is me. Like, oh man, the world is evil. It's an evil place. It sucks. Like, oh, the rich keep getting richer, the poor keep getting poorer. Instead of going with that really low level thinking, just realizing using those times of darkness to unleash your inner awesomeness and realize that, hey, I got some light within me and I can light this world up with what I have to contribute. So, heck, even realizing that you yourself, the listener, have something amazing and awesome to contribute to the wonderful planet Earth that we live on, and not letting social media, comparison, or heck, even your own negative stinking thinking hold you back from what you can really create and contribute to this wonderful planet.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I always feel like, at least for me personally, whenever it feels like the universe just comes up and smacks me and, you know, knocks me off my feet with something, whatever it is, I always know that it's a lesson somewhere, that there's something I'm supposed to be learning. And usually it's a redirection for me. It's a chance for me to look at my life and say, am I really where I'm supposed to be? Am I really living to my fullest potential? And in most cases, I realize that I'm not, and that there's something else I'm supposed to be doing. So I don't know if you find that for yourself, but I know for me that is definitely true.
Oh yeah, life smacks us all the time. Like the classic Mike Tyson quote, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Like life will punch you in the face. It's like you gotta make sure you get back up and realize, oh, I'm still awake. All right, I don't have a concussion. Let me keep going.
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, if you look around, people have adversities they face every single day. And I always look at the people who complain and choose not to fix anything and stay stuck in that, or the people who you see that they post these things are happening to them and they choose to keep going and get up anyway and come back stronger. And those are the people that I always look to for inspiration. I mean, I know I have a few podcast listeners out there whose stories are inspirational, who I follow them, we follow each other on social media, and I see their stories and I think, wow, they're dealt so much and yet they just keep going and they're so positive. And that's really what helps motivate me too, is to realize that I have a choice. It's a choice every single day that I can make.
Oh yeah, that's right. We do have the power to choose. Like that's the thing. It's like, hey, like, it's just making sure you realize what happens after you make that choice is what you gotta think about. Sometimes we forget to think about it, or we just choose not to.
Yeah, ignoring it doesn't always work. I always say you can ignore it, but the universe will find a way of making you face whatever it is you're trying to ignore. And I like to call that my pulling the rug out from under my feet moment. If I choose to ignore the signs the universe is trying to give me, there's usually, I either call it a tower moment, like in the tarot, or a pull the rug out from under your feet moment where the universe is going to get my attention one way or the other. I can't just keep going with my eyes turned straight ahead, blindly ignoring everything that's happening.
Yeah, never can say that again. Yeah, yeah. So try not to walk on the rug all the time, I guess, right? Try to levitate over it.
No. Yeah, don't step on the carpet. I don't know what else. No, I so tell me about your guests. Like what is the most, I know you talked about the most inspiring, but maybe what is your most unique story that you've had on your podcast?
Wow. That's a good one because it's it's 4 to 21 episodes deep now, so it's kind of hard to go back to some of the stories. But one that stuck out in this conversation is probably not like really out there, but I had a lovely lady by the name of Lori Lynn Bridges on my podcast, and we were also in a co-author project together, Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy. And she was also part of a Category 5 divorce. Like, it was really intense. And the person that she married at first, she didn't realize that she was married to a narcissist, and it's kind of hard to detect that if you're not careful in the beginning, because
Right.
there are no noticeable red flags. But once they got together and eventually she divorced him after a while, he kept taking her to court every year, that she eventually became friends with basically almost everybody in the darn courthouse, from the security guard to the judge. It's like, hey, Lori Lynn, how you doing? It's you again? Yeah, it's me again. And what makes this story interesting is the fact that since we're recording this after Mother's Day, I think that's why the story sticks out to me so much, is that the divorcee that she had visited her mom on Mother's Day, and the mom was basically asking the ex, like, hey, is like, why are you taking Lori Lynn through all this trouble? Like, why are you giving her all this trouble? And she wasn't even violent or anything. She was just curious, like, hey, why keep taking her back to court every year for money that she doesn't even have, and all this other nonsense. And he in turn he tried to sue the mom
Gosh.
and, for abusing him.
Wow.
All because She was asking him a question. And I even asked her, like, did she, like, come at him with a baseball bat while she was asking the question? Like, no, it was just her. She was, like, 85. I'm like, you're really going to sue an 85-year-old woman, dude? Yeah, so, yeah, just stuff like that. It's like, wow, okay then. Yeah. Yeah, so definitely got to watch out who you're around and definitely have your resilience meter as high as possible because moments like those, even it may not always be physical, it can be something emotional and psychic that can really hold you back, all because of who we decide to spend our time with.
No, absolutely. And I think that a lot of the people who listen to my program are empaths. So
Mm-hmm.
we're extra sensitive to other people's emotions. And because of that, our type ends up attracting a lot of people like narcissists. So we have to be very careful with energy and who we allow into our inner circle because that was basically the topic of the book that I wrote because I was married to a man who I don't even know what you would describe him as. You know, some would say narcissist. I would say I think that there's a little bit of like bipolar depression there. Uh, no formal diagnosis of anything, but just very, very difficult to deal with. And so I totally understand. Never took me back to court like that. So I guess I'm lucky in that way. But very controlling, and I understand that her situation very much so. And I think probably a lot of our listeners out there can relate to something like that because we tend to be bad picker outers of partners until we learn how to love ourselves and protect our energy and set healthy boundaries and not allow others to manipulate us. So, very understandable. So, that's an interesting guess.
Yeah, it definitely was, especially listening to your story in the past few weeks. Like, yep, I think this will definitely be relatable.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It is for sure. Um, so tell me about the book. You said you were working on a project because this sounds interesting. I love the title, From Crappy to Happy. Is that what you said the title of the book was?
Oh yeah, that was last year's project. It was a multi-year project. I'm also working on a solo project again. That one's going to be called Pod Book It. The three phases of greatness by writing a book, starting a podcast, and doing both. So that's going to be out by the end of the year. But the Crappy to Happy, the one that I mentioned earlier, that launched last October, got on the bestsellers list. And the wonderful James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote the foreword for that book. And it's a nice thick sized book. I say a good 300 pages. One of those short stories you can like pick a good story and finish in like 5 to 10 minutes. Like stories that'll make you laugh, make you cry, and heck, even one lady in particular who's one of the wonderful ladies who spearheaded the project, Miss Ariel Patricia. She actually had a story about how she had a quote unquote healing moment that she thought she was healed, but it really wasn't a healing moment. I won't spoil it for the listeners in case they want to pick up that book, but definitely want to pick that book up. Heck, even another wonderful lady who was the other tag team partner, Kat Kevinus, who calls herself the Queen of Dreams, her wonderful life story of awesomeness is where she actually had a dream that saved her life, or should I say multiple dreams that saved her life, because she had her medical procedures every year and everything like that. And one night she had a dream in particular where these Franciscan monks were gathered around having a ceremony, and one of the monks handed her a sutra that read that she had breast cancer. And she took that very seriously, to the fact that even after having those medical procedures every year, she went back to get tested once, came back negative, then she went back again after the dream, and it was still negative. She had decided not to leave the doctor's office until they tested her again, until they found it, and they eventually did, and they were able to get it out of her because that dream saved her life. Like, she originally thought it was someone else in her family, but it wasn't. It was actually her. And ever since then, just wonderful stories like from her and other people in that wonderful book. Like, it just shows that there are ordinary people who've had moments that can help you realize that you have extraordinary moments to share with other people that can help inspire their own level of amazingness.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I know there are a lot of people who have dreams out there that uh, they get signs and symbols in their dreams. For most people, it's hard to decipher your dreams. We had a dream analyst on one time, and she tried to help us make a little bit more sense out of the crazy dreams. I have incredibly crazy dreams, and they don't make any sense ever. So they would have to be completely picked apart for me to even understand what they mean. But for some people, they do get symbols like that. I think it's encouraging, though. I think one of the best things about people sharing their stories is that it helps others to understand that they're not alone and that other people go through the same things that they do. And what's especially great about that is you realize that if other people can survive this, so can you.
That's right. The human spirit is undefeated. That's right. We may die in the physical form, but the soul lives on.
That's right. Absolutely. So, besides this upcoming project, what else are you up to?
Ah, yes. So that wonderful project that's going to be out by the end of this year is also going to be audio as well as an online course as well because got to reach people in different ways. Like, because folks may not have time to read a book even if it's 100 pages. Funny enough, I still got relatives who haven't even read my first book, and that was only 64 pages. So, gonna be doing audio, gonna be doing a course as well. And also, my podcast itself, the Going North podcast, is going to be revving up to 3 days out of the week starting in June. So it's going to be Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And really just continuing to build that brand, grow that, and just keep that going. And heck, even looking forward to having you on the wonderful podcast as well. You get to be one of the legendary 1,000 to appear on the marvelous show.
Yeah,
Indeed, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
excited. Yeah, I'm excited about that. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on here with us today. And if someone wants to listen to your podcast or they want to purchase your book or even the book you were talking about, that's the compilation of works, like where are all the good places they can find
Ah, yeah, good with 17 O's, it's good.
you?
Yep, folks can find it all on dombrightmon.com. That is dombrightmon.com. You can find the podcast there, the books there, and everything Dom related. And there's also a free gift for your listeners as well. If any of your lovely listeners want to start a podcast of their own or just want to know what it takes to not only start, grow, launch, and have a successful podcast and sustain it, there's a nice little ebook called The 21 Lessons Learned from 2+ years of Podcasting. And you can find all that on dombrightmon.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that free gift. I know my audience members will be super excited. I know a few of them who are already trying to start their own podcast. So that will be greatly beneficial to those of you out there wondering what it's like. And if you can start your own, go grab that free resource. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Ooh, my pleasure indeed. Don't have to wait till Christmas to give gifts, right?
That's right. That's right. Every day is gift giving day, right?
Oh, yeah. I love your philosophy.
Sending out that ripple of kindness into the world.
Oh, yes, indeed. That's right, folks. I guess that means double the gifts for Melissa and May, right?
Absolutely. Well, I do have a free checklist you guys can go check out. It's all about tips, it's habits that highly successful people have. And you can go and grab a free copy of that too. So, yeah, I guess it is gift giving month this month.
There you go. Podcasters bearing gifts.
Right. You're so generous. You're welcome. So, I always like to ask our guests to impart some wisdom from your own perspective. So, if you had any advice that you could give our listeners, what might that be?
Yeah, this is a hard question. So the reason why is because it's like which one to drop. So I'll just drop my magical acronym for a wonderful elite performance mindset, and that is Mitch, Mitch. So the M in Mitch stands for mental awareness, being aware of your mind. The I stands for influence awareness, being aware of the things that influence you, being careful of what you watch, hear, see, taste, smell, all that good stuff. The T is for time awareness, being aware of how much time that you have during the week and how you allow your attention to go to where you use that time. Then there's the C, which is connection awareness, being aware of who you're connecting to and who you're connecting with. Are you with those who will help push you to higher levels in life? Or are you with those people who are trying to drag you back down like crabs in a barrel? And the H stands for habit awareness, being aware of the habits that will build you towards your future so you can have hope for a better future and build to that future too. Or do you have bad habits that are holding you back and keeping you down in that low level cesspool of negativity? So the MITCH, keep that in mind for some wonderful elite performance goodness.
I love that. I didn't even know there was that acronym. That is amazing. Wonderful advice. Probably the best we've been given in a long time on this show. So thank you. Thank you for imparting us with that wisdom. That's amazing and such beautiful advice. And I want to thank you for being on here with us today.
Woohoo! Thanks for letting me on, Melissa. I appreciate you.
Yeah. And I want to thank you for starting this podcast to help authors because, as an author, I know how hard it is to get your name out there and to get started when you don't know anybody and you don't know nothing, as people say. So that's amazing that you're doing that. So thank you for doing that. Continue doing that. I can't wait to be on your podcast.
Woohoo! It's gonna be fun on a bun.
Yeah. And I will let you guys know when that happens so you guys can check it out. And I want to thank you guys for being here with us today as well. Don't forget, you can go to dombrightmon.com and you can pick up the latest copy of his book. You can go to check out his podcast, which I highly encourage you to do. And you can also pick up your free resource about starting your own podcast. So, thank you once again for being here with us today, Dom.
Woohoo! Hashtag gratitude.
Yes. Lots of gratitude today, and I am super grateful for all of you for being here with us and for listening. And I want to thank you so much for supporting this podcast. As always, if you like this podcast, please subscribe. Please leave a positive review from wherever you're listening. And the greatest compliment you can pay me is to share the podcast with anyone you think might also benefit from it. Don't forget to follow me on social media. I go live Mondays at 6:30 Central where I do a free card reading. And if you show up for the live, I will pull a card especially for you. If you want to work with me, you can go to my website, melissaoatman.com. There you'll see all the services I offer, and you can purchase a session directly from my website, or you can book a discovery call with me if you're not sure what you want me to help you with. I would be happy to jump on a call with you. I hope that you guys are having a fabulous day from wherever you are, and as always, I am sending you so much love and light. I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.